Hello, Rimfire friends. I hope everybody is doing well. I just wanted to kind of bring those interested up to date on my BSA Supersport 5 project. I had some issues when I took it to the range, not only with that match, which was crazy to shoot in between, but also with the cheek weld height. And I will insert a picture here for you guys to take a look at, because this rifle came with these bases, and like Lord knows when they were installed, but they're of varying different heights, I should say. And one was on the receiver here, and one was quite far up the barrel here. And so I had managed to find a scope in my collection that fit, and I talked about it. But the downside, it was quite high, and the cheek weld was awful. It was more like a chin weld. But it was the only scope really that I had that could give me the proper eye relief. So it turns out this rifle shoots very well, as you guys saw. So I thought a resolution was in order. Now, one of my favorite YouTube channels, Boomstick779, saw my video, posted up a video of his own, which also shoots very well. And I really appreciate it. And thank you very much, pal, for that. And he, unfortunately, has some bases installed, but they're drilled and tapped incorrectly. So he also had mounting issues with his, and he, was kind of trying to decide what he should do about it. And so I knew right away, once I found out it was the shooter, I needed to resolve this problem. Now, this rifle has been modified since from its factory state in my case, and I talked about it before. I didn't really care. It's been shortened and threaded. Front sight is missing as a result. Rear sight dovetail block is there with a screw, but is missing. And then, of course, somebody had drilled it and tapped it for these. I believe they're quite vintage bases. So my rifle is not a pristine example. So I was certainly able to drill more holes if I wanted to, but I didn't really want to. And so a solution I've used before when I used to be into air guns came to mind. So I ordered what is basically a rimfire 11mm dovetail. I'm going to call it a blank. And you can do all sorts of things with these. You can drill and tap them and mount them right on. You can weld them on. You can epoxy them on. I've done on certain air guns, and it opens up a world for people who need to mount a scope or want to mount a scope on an example that doesn't have dovetail grooves. Now, I absolutely could have mounted Weaver bases on here, but I really didn't want to drill and tap any more holes. So I ordered this piece, and I'll put a link here or a picture here or something for you guys. See what I'm talking about. And I used the existing 2 holes from one of these bases back here, and then floated at the rest, shaped it to fit the receiver opening, and then I used some JB weld underneath to bed it on. So it's solid and in place, held basically clamped down here, and then epoxy throughout. Now, I did leave mine a little bit proud because I want to see how it shoots now, and if I decide to have this example re-blued, I will profile this properly. And when you profile it, they basically almost disappear, but it gives kind of a more classic look to one of the older rimfires rather than a Weaver base or whatever. Now, individual Weaver bases would have been my choice. They're great. The downside is drilling more holes, which I didn't want to do. So I was able to use, in my case, these existing holes. And like I said, I've actually, and I know many people who have as well, on air guns especially, just epoxied the base in place. So I chose to do kind of a mixture of the two, and it gave me the ability to have a normal scope height. And I was able to slide this back, of course, to a more standard, normal eye relief. And this is just a little older vintage 3x9 Bushnell, no big deal, but it looks pretty good on here. And you can see the clearance is really good. And this is just, whatever rings were on there. I think these are about the lowest rings that I currently have. But this will make it, and it does make it, like it's dropped, basically the height of this base at least. So it makes quite a difference in terms of height compared to before. So I won't know till I try it out how everything works, but a quick bore sight and it lined up no problem because these holes that were drilled straight. So I just transferred them over to the base and made sure my center line was correct when I got it all set up in epoxy and clamped it right on. And like I said, it seems to be dead nut straight. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. Can't wait to go try it out. And of course, I'll let you know when I do. But any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll do my best to answer them. But if not, I'll catch you guys at the next one.